footy journals at the Etihad. Thoughts on that one, lads? Jordan first.
Yeah, I've said it on a few videos now, but a total non-contest. Newcastle were never in that game today. You could probably point the first 15 minutes of it being sort of competitive, but look, it felt like a matter of time when City won a daily. They had so much possession, and it all came from an individual error. But once that happened, I think that it wasn't the floodgates open, but it was very plain sailing from then. The first half hat-trick in the space of 14 minutes, the game's done and dusted. The second half, Newcastle were better, but that's coming from a very, very low base. So one chance created in the whole game. So that's the thing that really is frustrating me today, is Newcastle, for as good as City are, haven't been in the last few months, but they are a good side and they can do that at teams. But Newcastle, for their job, didn't threaten enough, and that's the thing that really disappointed me from today.
Yeah, when you watch Manchester City in the week against Real Madrid, and Newcastle aren't Real Madrid by any means, but you saw how all over the defence was, and I think to not lay a glove on Man City in that way is particularly disappointing. And I think to some degree, like Eddie Howe's coming out saying, Man City are still the best team in the world. I think that comes from a place of just showing Man City a bit too much respect, and that was a little bit the case early on, particularly in the first half, where, I mean, without Man City having to be or do anything special, the 3-0 up and the game's over. And Newcastle, okay, there was an individual error for the first goal and it's hard to recover from that, but again, Newcastle just, like you say, it was Alexander Isak had a half chance in the first half, Lewis Miley had a half chance in the second half. Other than that, they've just not laid a glove on a team who have looked like, even, you said before the game, even if Newcastle lose today, Man City will probably outscore them. Newcastle could score goals, but the fact that Edison had very little to do and comes away with an assist probably tells you everything you need to know with the game today.
Honestly, it was proper basic stuff, I thought, today. Some things, there has been so much change. Newcastle United are a much better team than probably when they came on paper than when they came here last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that.
It feels the same though.
But this was a performance of any age.
Yeah.
Like, this could have been 100%. Any other time in the last 2 decades coming here, or best part of 2 decades coming here. Yeah. It was utter rubbish. Like, it was utter rubbish from the start to finish. Newcastle United did not look. I think it's always wonderful when you sit and say, hindsight this, hindsight that. Look, I didn't really have too many complaints when I seen the team, and almost the way that they set up. Did they keep Man City for the first 15 at arm's length? I didn't feel it was comfortable. I thought they were on the edge. Dan Burn was having to get his head and foot on a lot of bits and bobs, and you sort of thought, if they notch it up a little bit, this could be dangerous for Newcastle United. And it didn't take much of a notch up, did it? It was like half a gear, and all of a sudden it was 3-0, as you say. That was not good enough for a team with ambitions, and the team, that the way that they speak, the footballers at this football club and the manager, the way that they speak about the ambitions of this team, particularly this season, to come here and not even do anything when there's been so many teams come here and done bits this season. I mean, what was it? If you go back to the Champions League this season, I know they obviously managed to get through, but was it not Feyenoord who came here?
They were 3-0.
3-0 down. So Man City were 3-0 up, right? And Feyenoord went at them and gave it a go. Newcastle didn't even threaten at any point in the 90 minutes to have a little go. Not once. One chance created. They came here last season, created nothing in 2 games.
Haven't scored since DeAndre Yedlin.
And it's not a surprise. Every time they come here, it's rabbit in the headlights. Always rabbit in the headlights. And I don't get it. There was nothing to fear today.
It's not an intimidating stadium as such.
There is no atmosphere. There is no atmosphere. The first noise of the home crowd is after the first goal, which is fair enough. Look, it's modern football. It is the way it is. I'm not going to go into the depths of that.
We're going to Anfield in a couple of weeks. That's intimidating.
That can be intimidating, yeah.
This isn't. It's intimidating maybe on the pitch, player v player.
Yeah.
But it's not a ground where you go, ooh, yeah, they're going to make it really tough for us.
So where I was going with that was, look, when I seen the team, did I have any complaints? Not really. I didn't mind it. If I'd known prior to kick-off he was going to do the 5 without the ball, I probably wouldn't have had many complaints. I would have wondered about how that setup worked as a 5. But to me, the experiment of Kieran Trippier as a third centre half was probably a really, really poor one. It didn't work in any way, shape or form. And really, did they keep him at arm's length? Maybe. An individual error has cost them. That Trippier error for the first goal is schoolboy, and it opened the doors. Suddenly, then an approach that on paper you think, oh, could work if you keep things tight. It disappeared. And then you have to start questioning, did it really work? Was it worth doing? It didn't work. So the manager has to take a little bit of responsibility for that. What the manager can't really legislate for is I thought there was a sloppy attitude about the players today. I don't know where that came from. I'm not going to start going down avenues where a lot of fans are going down. Is it cup final vision? I'm not going down there. There isn't a body evidence to suggest that. If they do the same against Forest next week, that's when you have to start saying, wait there. Have they taken their eye off the ball? And that's, to me, not only on the players, it's on the coaches as well and the managers. You've got to keep the focus. Look, I've said on videos, I was talking with you guys, you yesterday, about a video. For me, the focus, I'm not playing the matches and I'm not managing the team, but for me, the focus as a fan, ultimately, is Newcastle United win that trophy. It ends everything. It ends everything. However, you still, really, as players and a manager, you've still got to keep consistent in the league. They've come to a really hard place where they're losing any given season. Like I said on the live earlier, if anybody caught it, the 4 fixtures that Newcastle United had today, one of them, 0 points in the corresponding fixture last season. Nottingham Forest next weekend, 0 points in the corresponding fixture last season. Liverpool away straight after, 0 points in the corresponding fixture. And West Ham, 1 point in the corresponding fixture. It really doesn't look great on paper, that the amount of fixtures that they had going up to that final. So even in a normal season, they might struggle in those games. They're not the easiest of games. But I thought it was more in the attitude, application and performance today that concerned us rather than anything else. Going through the team for me, I thought Trippier was really poor. That was a performance of Lewis Hall rolling back 12 months rather than anything we've seen this season, and he's been fantastic this season. I think Fabian Schär has in time he's been poor. I think in this calendar year, Fabian Schär hasn't really had a great game when he's been available. And I think a lot of this sort of listless long balls is looking more hit and hope rather than anything targeted at the moment. Going into the midfield, I thought Tonali put in arguably one of his worst performances that we've seen in a black and white shirt. It wasn't black and white today, of course. Bruno was ghost-like, normally such a huge influence. He wasn't. We're getting wrong for doing more work. Joe Willock was like a ghost in midfield. But that can happen. We've seen it quite a few times. Anthony Gordon, was he fit? Was he not fit? Who knows? I don't really know. But what I've seen from him was a very wasteful performance. One moment at 1-0 down, he had a perfect chance to put Isak through for 1-1. Wasteful. There was too many things like that. I thought Isak was starved of service. One chance in a full game. And then going beyond that, Jacob Murphy, I forgot he was playing at points.
Yeah, he put one sort of half dangerous ball in that went out for a corner. Other than that,
Lewis Miley was the only half positive you can take from it.
I said to you, that is clutching at straws, though, really. It's really trying to polish, you know what I'm trying to say. It was a poor performance. Lewis Miley is the only player who
really
can...
dirty cup.
Yes.
Just say it, man.
No, but Lewis Miley, look, I think comes away with a bit of credit, but that is really clutching at straws. In what was a very poor game for Newcastle. He was the pick of Newcastle's midfielders. I said that in my Newcastle player ratings. He had one half chance, hits it at the keeper, and he did try, and that's
they got a bit. The change of shape then in the second half. They probably got a little bit more control about things. They're really trying to kick out here. This is typical. This is Geordie Journal's bread and butter. We're used to it by now. They got a lot more control because he changed the system slightly in the second half, back to that kind of what they're more like. They're playing 4-3-3. But how much of it, when Miley got in a little bit more influence in the game, was it that Manchester City literally at 3-0 up just went, feet off the pedal, nice and easy. It was. I thought it was a walk in the park. I don't think they'll have many easier games than that here this season.
Yeah, I think it's our biggest win of the season.
Is it?
Sure.
Newcastle's biggest defeat since 2022 when they lost 5-0 here. And
that was a grim day, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was similar, though.
Yeah.
Where it's just concede early on and never look like winning.
Yeah.
Should we continue this outside?
We're getting man marked more than any Newcastle
man marked.
player marked any
Cuffs at
man.
the back.
The Man City press man has got closer to us than
Any Newcastle player.
Kieran Trippier got near to anybody today. Right, what should we do?
We'll
Should we-
continue it for 5 minutes outside. or-
Yes,
yeah, we'll
yes.
wrap it up
Right,
outside.
so we'll see you on the other side. Right, as is so often the case with the Geordie Journos, we've been booted out. Always seems to happen to us.
Yeah, he wasn't happy.
No.
Coughing on the video.
I don't think
Very
the mic
stood-
picked it up, but
Very close
He
to it.
just had to ask if he wanted to be in, didn't he? What can we do? Anyway, we're outside the Etihad now. I don't even know where we're going with this video.
we were just
in many ways.
hammering a poor performance, really. But it's where Newcastle go from here. What we were talking about off camera, because
Okay.
a big talking point in the press conference was, well, are Newcastle distracted by the Carabao Cup? And it's not a narrative I'm really.
Well, fans are really talking about that. I'm seeing a lot of that. So when I did the live,
It's a
people
get
were-
out clause, that though. It's a get out clause.
But
There's no reason you've got so much to play for before. Look, the season will be defined on the Carabao Cup final because you want to win a trophy. But there's still so much to play for before then. You've got a European race to look. You've got some big games there as well. Forest next week's massive.
Yeah. It's a fan mentality, though, like you said in the video yesterday, and we touched upon it earlier.
Oh no.
Oh, we've lost the light. This is turning into a disaster. Hey, we're back. You need to charge it.
Well, we've had it on since we left the stadium.
Right,
Ah,
fair
it's
enough.
gonna go again. But yeah, you were saying it's a fan mentality. Oh, you've got your tickets to Wembley, or you're looking forward to the final anyway. That's fine. You're allowed to get excited. Of
course you are.
The players shouldn't get
But they're not going to.
distracted
I
by
don't.
that.
I'm,
And
I'll
Eddie
be-
Howe did say, he said, look, if that's the case, we're in trouble and our Premier League season will be over by the time we play the final. He made no mistake about that,
Yeah.
and pulled no punches in terms
But
of
it's on him,
if
by the
that's
way.
case.
If the players switch off, it's on him because he needs to turn them round. All his individuals can switch off, but he's the man who has to carry the can for that. Because if he allows that to creep into his squad and his team and his players, he's got a problem. I don't think that's happened. Unless
don't
they
think so
put in
either.
another stinker against Forest, then I think there's legitimate cause to say, have they taken their eye off the ball here? However, I went through it before, the corresponding fixtures last year, they got no points from in this one. Liverpool away, Forest at home's one of them. A worse Forest team they lost to last season, but you would still say I think that's the one they've got to win.
I think, like Jordan said, that's a really, really important game.
Yeah,
where
massive.
Forest have lost today, Newcastle again have missed the chance to close that gap. They could have moved up to 4th today, instead they dropped to 7th. Bournemouth winning, they're right in that
It's not just
picture
that,
now.
Dom. Everyone's crept up. So
That's
so
what I mean. They've missed
it's all-
opportunities and then dropped away.
It's not just Newcastle's dropped away, everybody underneath is caught up. So we're not talking about a race for the top 5 where they had an opportunity in these losing 3 out of 4 games to put themselves right in a 4, 5, 6. That's as low as you
Really?
finish. They're actually now looking saying you could easily finish 9th because
Yeah, no,
everybody's
you're-
crept everybody's crept up. That's the biggest danger here. You let it slip too far. And this isn't how the way life works. If you let things slip too far before the final, then it's a problem. I said it on the video the other day, me standing here as a fan will go my focus because it would end every bit of anxiety and upset and anger I've had over my 37 years. Yes, I know I do look a little bit older, but those 37 years is all to do with, am I ever going to see this bloody football club win a trophy? That all ends on March the 16th if they go and do it. However, that can't be something that the footballers have in mind. It can't be something that the manager has in mind. They've got to be better than that, and they've got to make sure they don't allow their own season that they've all worked. It's not us standing here who's put the effort in.
No.
They've got themselves in this position.
A
They've put-
9-game winning run to
every
get
bit of
yourself
graft.
back to where you should be.
and now they've
Incredible
just slipped a
effort.
bit back
And
to
they've sit-
probably where they were before.
It's 3 defeats in 4 Premier League games.
Yes.
That's not a good run again. That's not a good run of
Against all the teams around you
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
which has been the double blow, hasn't it? Teams like Bournemouth, who are now above them, Fulham, who are right breathing down their neck, and Man City, who are now streaking away from them,
Yeah.
which I expect anyway. Look, I've never stood here thinking Man City really are a challenge to Newcastle United. Man City will get themselves up where they probably belong.
We always said when Newcastle were above Man City, Newcastle in a false
false.
position because they finished below
Drop
Man
a
City.
position. We always said that. Whether we said that in a video, but privately
Yeah.
we all said that, didn't we?
We,
You drop.
we did say that Forest will be the one that we, if you want to get top 4, probably need to
Stay in
catch.
touch.
And that's the opportunity next week. Next week's massive. It
Yeah.
really is. Who would Forest do this? Fulham?
Which means
Fulham are claiming again.
Fulham are,
Fulham,
that's what I'm
aye,
saying.
right.
Everyone's come up. Fulham are 2 points behind Newcastle now.
And we said when we were looking at the fixture list, we were like, Forest lose today.
So Fulham in 2 weeks have caught. There were 8 points behind Newcastle before Newcastle kicked the ball against Fulham last week. They're 2 points behind them now. You're looking over your shoulder, not looking ahead, and that's the danger about letting it slip too much. Because you don't really, you can put it for one big game, big performance, and I'd love to see it. Look, I'd do that deal with the devil. Do that deal with the devil, or you lose every single game 4-0 now between now and the final to win that day, to beat Liverpool on March 16. You wouldn't. I would do that deal with the devil.
No, I would.
I would do 5-0. I would do that deal with the devil. But that's not how footballers think. That's not how life works, even, is it?
No.
But if there's a deal to be done with the devil, I'm shaking your hand, mate. If you're up, down, left, right, or centre, I'm shaking your hand because I want a trophy. But this team cannot let that happen because that's not the reality of things, is it?
No.
I'm probably talking absolute rubbish now.
Yeah.
I know what I mean in my head.
I just think it's funny with Kane outside discussing the narrative from a press conference at the Carabao Cup final and saying it's not a factor when we're all talking about the Carabao Cup final.
Very good point.
Is it subconsciously on our minds?
Well, definitely
It can
is
be on our minds,
But it
the
can be
players-
on our mind
yeah, but the players
because ultimately,
can't.
Jordan, if you write a few words less tomorrow for your lines on NewcastleWorld.com, write a couple of words less, it ain't going to make any difference when Newcastle United win the Carabao Cup final.
No.
If Sandro Tonali puts in another few performances like that, it will make a difference.
Yeah.
Because he's been the difference maker, and he was anything but today.
No, I agree. I think that fourth goal epitomised his performance.
It was
really
pathetic, actually. It was
It was really
pathetic.
weak. It was really weak. Yeah.
But he wasn't the only one.
No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
There was so much in that game.
The 3 goals
The
are
game was
conceded
already
were
lost
awful.
at that point.
Yeah, I was going to say on the video, I thought Pep done a proper job on how they did, because Howe tried to be clever by playing the 5 and then pushing the centre halves up. And what Pep do? Edison, go along, mate.
Or they just passed it by.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. That first 15, people go, "Oh, there wasn't any." There was a bit of a press. There was a little bit of a. But all Edison is the best
things it.
goalkeeper in the world at beating the press.
Yeah.
That's what Pep said.
Did he? Yeah. Well, that would
He said Eddie's the
well,
best.
He would know.
Eddie's the best in the world, and I went, Eddie Howe. And I was like,
That's
no.
what I thought. I was having this conversation.
Oh, that-
I was-
well, right.
You came in the press. It's just called Eddie Howe world class. And it was
He
actually.
does like him though.
You know he does. He does.
Ah, he does.
But yeah, he meant Edison. and-
Eddie
Yeah.
Edison.
He fooled me.
Yeah, full Q and Trippier as well. Edison.
Direct stuff, but you said it. You called it within the first 2 minutes. One of those balls is going to kill Newcastle United today.
There's no pace at the back. It's the slowest back four in the Premier League.
It is.
What was named
but it
today.
has been for years. And that's why they tried to sign Mark Gay, or they tried to bring a centre half in and roll the dice, and they couldn't do it. That's fair enough. They'll do it in the summer. It isn't going to win them a cup final. You know, the what's left on the balance sheet, but they've done it for the right reasons, in my opinion. So everybody's shouting. There was lots of people in live shouting they haven't backed Eddie Howe. They actually have backed Eddie Howe. They've backed him to every financial degree they possibly could have, to the point where there's nothing left to back him with. It's not an ambition or backing thing with Eddie Howe. He understands the situation very clearly as to where the football club is. He would loved new players. Well, ask any football manager at any level, do you want another player? Aye.
He said it himself, he would like to sign a player or a window.
Yeah, of course I do. I want another player. He'd probably want 3 or 4 in the summer. And I hope he gets them, and I think he will. The way the football club's talking, I think that he will get his players. But that isn't going to help them on March the 16th. It isn't going to help them next week against Nottingham Forest. That's just the reality of where Newcastle United are. And that was probably, we talked about, it's like the lazy narrative that some people are spinning about, ooh, well, that's what a January window does for you. Because the bloke he has
Yeah,
cost
that's-
75
yeah.
million, scores a hat-trick, and Newcastle United didn't spend. Well, obviously, but where's the wider context of this? This is a football club that makes more money than any football club on the planet, because it's been set up in such a way that every element of this football club makes good money to build teams, and they've spent nothing relatively compared to the amount of money they make. They've not spent every penny they possibly could have spent in the last
They've made
5,
some
6,
bit-
7
Made
windows.
some decent sales as well.
Jordan, they could have spent double the amount of money that they've spent
Yeah.
and still be okay with PSR, because the football club makes money. It's the rules that's a problem.
Yeah.
It's not the team, and it's not Eddie Howe not getting back. He understands it. And it is, it's a lazy narrative. The £75 million bloke, or whatever he cost, scores a hat-trick today. Some great finishes. I thought he was really, really good. Very, very impressive. But every time I've seen him, I've been really impressed. I thought Haaland was brilliant today. I thought the midfield didn't have to control things because they easily bypassed them to get that first goal and create the chances.
I saw Man City's lineup today. You see Gundogan, who ran all over the shop
Yeah.
at St James's Park. Rico Lewis, who's had his troubles this season. And you go, Anthony Gordon can get at them, Tonali Bruno can get at them. It just didn't happen at all.
Best player on the park today,
John Stones.
John Stones. It was outstanding.
See, I was apart from you, so I didn't get your.
Well, I was going
It was when Newcastle did get forward. It was every interception, every little
Just everything.
cleaned it up. He
was brilliant.
He was a very tidy player there.
I'd say a
No
player who
cross.
scored a hat trick and probably had 4 shots in the game is probably going to be my man of the match.
You
like.
know I like me defenders as well.
Yeah, well done.
Very respectful of John Stones' work. Not too respectful of what we're seeing from Newcastle United today, but tomorrow is another day. They've got 8 days to patch themselves up. Where do they go from here? Who knows? They've got to get a result next week.
Yes.
Defeat is unthinkable. If there is a defeat in the manner in which they suffered it today, then I do think a lot of the questions that people are asking about has the focus gone would be really legitimate. I think watching that today, beating off a team who everybody in August, probably even September, was still calling the best team on the planet. I don't think there is a huge amount of shame in it, even though we'd hope with
the manner of it, isn't it?
elevated expectations
it's the
that
manner of
things
it,
would
right.
be different. But this was a performance that could have happened in any season in the last 15 years, probably.
Yes.
Which isn't right, because as the light goes out again.
Yeah.
But that you think Newcastle have progressed? That they shouldn't. They're a good side, but this result being in any other era, I don't think that's acceptable.
No.
Personally,
No, I agree.
because you've progressed since then.
I don't
But you could dump this in the Steve Bruce era. Alan Pardew, maybe Rafa got a couple of batteries here as well, although he was the last man that was here when he scored a goal. But
Scoring a goal is like,
woo,
oh, get in.
is it 7 games you have a goal?
Yes.
Oh,
That's shocking.
Never won here.
they'd
In
never
the
get
Premier
any of them though. They never get any of them. It was the same year last year as well when we turned up, and it was they beat Aston Villa on the opening day of the season. It was like, oh, we get Manchester City. I think they had one shot at goal that day. I remember Harvey Barnes.
Harvey
shot.
Barnes, that was it. I know.
They never
Yeah.
get anywhere near them. And
He's back. That's a boost. And on that note, let's go to
I
that
think so.
break. Comply IT Limited. Worrying about disposing of your old IT equipment? Don't be. Comply IT handle everything. Secure collection, detailed tracking, and certified data destruction. That's Comply IT Limited. We've also got Mitigate. Mitigate enhances workplace mental health, helping businesses stay compliant, reduce absences, and unlock higher productivity, creating healthier, happier teams. And of course, our OG sponsors, Four Rivers Financial Planning. Four Rivers Financial Planning offer holistic financial advice for all stages of life, ensuring your plan remains robust and adaptable in the ever-changing world we live in. Right, so those are our 3 sponsors, links in the description below, as well as the Geordie Journos shop. And if you like what we do, I know we didn't like what Newcastle did today, but please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell for all your Geordie Journos content. We'll be back. Eddie Howe press conference?
Yes,
Jordan,
I'll be
you
at
fancying
it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
We keep
be.
you motivated.
Alright.
We'll get you motivated. Newcastle United might not.
They
do
need
that.
some motivation
We'll
against
motivate you.
Nottingham
Thank you.
Forest.
We'll get you
next.
dressed.
I need that thing.
We'll be there at the Newcastle United Media Centre on Friday, and then we'll be back as a trio against Nottingham Forest, reflecting on that. Hopefully Newcastle can bounce back, and we're speaking a whole lot more positively this time next Sunday.